What's up, Metal Summoners? It is so awesome to see you guys. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, rocking out with us, and just down for an all good time. We are back on your island of misfit toys. It's myself, it's Angel, and we are here to have a great time, kicking off your weekend in the middle of the week, just the way we like it, on Happy Hump Day. But it's going to be a great one tonight. We really appreciate you guys tuning in as always, showing love to us, but more importantly, showing love to the killer bands that we have on the show. And that continues on tonight. No exceptions. Brotality is with us right now. First and foremost, gents, thank you so much. Welcome to the Metal Summit, and we appreciate your time.
Oh, heck yeah. We appreciate you guys so much for having us. This is going to be a blast. Really, really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So we scored you guys right on an off day, currently on tour. So we know it's the beginning of the tour, but so far, how's it flowing?
It's been great so far. We're one show down, one really good show down.
True.
We played out in Youngstown, Ohio last night at this awesome venue called West Side Bowl, which we've been playing at for like the past 4 years, and just run by great people. They have a great setup in there, so it was like a really nice way to start and get back into the swing of things. And I'm just like now double excited for the rest of tour after getting that like one show down little rust buster.
Yeah, we're ready to go now.
Absolutely, for sure. How do you guys kind of gear up when it comes to like tours? I mean, obviously, you guys, you get your rehearsals in, you jam it out, you put together your set list and whatnot. But like, how is it just in general when the anticipation of a tour is getting closer and closer for you guys?
Ooh.
I mean, like most obligations of mine, I wait until like 2 days before to actually do anything. So I just end up working myself to hell for like 2 days trying to figure out what I need to do. And then I forget things, and I get to figure that out while we're on the road. It makes things interesting, nice and light, nice and fun, and really frustrating. But, you plan out as far back as you can and try to make sure you're on top of stuff.
Yeah. And we also always like we book ourselves heavy with a bunch of different things. So like for the last 3 years before we've toured, we've been finishing up albums. So I feel like a lot of times getting ready for tour is also like it's the same thing as wrapping up recording.
Mm-hmm.
So like just a couple like days before tour is ending, it was like, all right, like we got to get mixes on this stuff. We got to make sure everything's tracked. And then it's just like, yeah, like John said, the last 2 days are like, okay, we're leaving for a month now. We need to get everything together.
Yeah. Right. No, absolutely, for sure. But since we jumped like right into the tour, I do want to like steer it back just a second to for you guys to officially introduce yourself to the Metal Summoners, as well as anybody who's coming to know you guys right now. Please introduce yourselves. Let us, as well as the Metal Summoners, know who you are and what you do for the band.
Heck yeah. My name is Bryce, and I am on guitar and vocals.
My name is John. I play the drums.
Right on, absolutely. And we have an MIA, don't we, in this band?
We do.
Yes,
We do.
my brother Reese. He's our not our brother. He's our bass player and is also a vocalist. But he's just like he's super particular about his voice, which is great because he does some of the most insane vocal stuff, like especially the new stuff that he's been learning. So he's just hitting a little bit of vocal rest tonight because we've got 4 back-to-back coming up this weekend.
Of course.
So we figured rather than just sitting here and looking pretty, he'd go work on some stuff.
Absolutely, for sure. Hey, we can find some ways to like do some prettiness. I mean, Bryce, between you and Angel, we should find a way to talk about some hair care products.
Oh, I'm down. Hit me with anything.
No, that's super duper awesome. But you've got your first like week's worth of dates and posters solidly posted for all of the fans to see, letting them know where you're going and stuff. But I mean, you've got a solid chunk of time that you guys are going to be out on the road right now.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we're right about 4 weeks left of tour. Yeah, and we're going all the way up. This first week is a lot of like up near Chicago and Wisconsin, which has a great scene, by the way. Absolutely love it up there. So yeah, we go to like Chicagoland and then Wisconsin for this full weekend, and then out to like Des Moines, Iowa, and then from there we run it out to like Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, and then we work our way back through like Indiana, Michigan, a bunch of dates in Ohio, and then we finish with a date in New York.
Very, very cool. That's killer, Bryce, for sure. And we spoke just off the air about a cool little fun fact that the fans might not be aware of about your Iowa show, but it's a very, very cool thing for the metal community.
Heck yeah. Our Iowa show is at the venue called Lefties Live, which is an incredible venue. And it's actually like one of the venues where like Slipknot got discovered. Like that's where they kind of got their start, right in Des Moines there. It's an awesome place. We've got a killer lineup coming into it this year. So very, very excited about this show at Lefties Live. That's on Tuesday, July 16th.
Absolutely, man, for sure. And before I kick it over to Angel and let him take it away for a little bit, talk a little bit about how you guys got involved in music. Like, Bryce, what was it about like guitar for you and vocals for you? And John, of course, how did you make your way to the throne?
Kick it off.
Sure, yeah. Well, my older brother always played guitar, and my dad was very musical growing up, so I was always kind of around it. And yeah, my dad was more of a guitar player, but for whatever reason, he always like would show me like clips of drummers and stuff, and be like, "Oh, look at that! Isn't that cool?" And I'd just be like staring at it, like, "Yeah, it is really cool. I want to do something like that." And we would like, bang on pots and pans at my grandmother's house all the time, stuff like that. So at one point, he was just like, "I'll get you a drum kit. Let's just see what happens." So when I was 9, he got me a kit like for Christmas, I think, and I just kind of took it from there.
Nice, very cool.
Heck yeah. And then for me, when I was, well, like my dad was a musician as well, and he would always have like guitars laying around the house. So when I was a kid, I'd like pick up like a Strat or something and just kind of like position it like I thought a guitar was positioned and think I was the coolest person on the planet. And then eventually he started like showing me some stuff. And for my 7th birthday, he got me like this blacked out like Ibanez RG. And I was like, heck yes, like I need to be a guitarist. And from there, like I would do little lessons with him and then just, keep working, trying to get that practice in every day. And from there, like my passion for guitar was totally born. And as far as the vocals went, it kind of started out of necessity. Like my brother and I are from a super, super small town, like one stoplight, 200 people kind of thing. And so there was no one else that liked metal. But we were like, we want to be in a metal band. We want to make this happen. And we were like, all right, so let's learn how to do vocals. Like if we can't find somebody, we'll do it ourselves. So ever since there, I wish I could say like, yeah, I took lessons and I perfected my craft and I did put so much work into it. But no, it was just a lot of trial and error and years of hurting myself. So, and then eventually the technique gets there a little bit more and more. And now I feel like I can call myself a vocalist, even though in my head it's like I play guitar and then yell sometimes.
Nice. Were there any particular influences for you guys? Like Bryce, was there any particular vocal influence or person that you really, really like to pattern out after, both for your vocals and your guitar playing? And then John, of course, with your drumming.
Ooh. So for my vocals, I feel like since a lot of it has been trial and error and necessity, I haven't really been focusing on like specific vocal things until the more recent future. So a lot of the vocalists that I really love come from the hardcore scene. Like vocalists like the vocalist of Gatecreeper has an insane voice. And same with Aaron Hurd from Jesus Piece. His like lows are just disgusting. So yeah, those two are huge for me, along with like Michael Alderfelt. I think that's the pronunciation, from Opeth. He like his cleans and his screams, you can just tell he has like infinite control over them. And he has a deep voice too, which I have a deeper voice when I sing, so I feel like I can relate to him a little bit more. And then with guitar stuff, I'm a huge fan of Bill Kelleher from Mastodon, because like I love like soloing, but riffs are really where my heart is at. And Bill Kelleher is just like the riff master. And then along with him, I just love to mention Sam Vallon from the band Caligula's Horse and Nick Lee from the band Moontooth. I feel like those guys are way underappreciated and they totally round out like my top 3 guitar players.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So for drums, I mean, I pull from pretty much everywhere. I mean, I try to soak up as much inspiration from everybody I listen to. I mean, like even beyond drums, like I'll listen to vocalists that I just really like the musicality of, and that'll kind of drive me towards working on myself a little more, just in terms of what they bring to the table. But in terms of like drumming inspirations, you could more here in like what we do. I grew up listening to a lot of Pantera. Vinnie Paul would for sure be a big inspiration for me. Ron Daly, Mastodon. I obviously grew up listening to Metallica a ton, so Lars is in there. Jimmy Sullivan from early Avenged Sevenfold was just super crazy. I loved his stuff. One
That's
of my
my
favorite.
girl's guy, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, she's got the death bat on her back, on her whole upper back, and the
Wow.
skull is Jimmy's face. So it's
Oh,
like the skull
awesome.
with like Jimmy's haircut.
That's really
sick.
cool.
That's
yeah.
sick.
Yeah, he was a big inspiration for sure. Mario Duplantier from Gojira as well. Guys like that, just super inspirational. But like I also listen to a lot of non-metal. I think my favorite drummer like of all time, honestly, is Benny Greb. He's like a sort of fusion-y alternative jazz drummer. He's pretty off to the left. I really love what he does.
Nice, that's awesome for sure. And when it comes to like those like heavy like metal like vocal type stuff for myself, like I'm wearing them right now. I'm a huge Obituary fan, but I also ride and die with like Venom. I love what Cronus does, and I'm a huge Cradle of Filth guy. So I mean, Danny can do no wrong.
Yeah, heck yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
Absolutely, for sure. Angel, let's kick it over to you, my guy. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing awesome. You can hear me clear and everything?
Oh yeah, we're doing good, man. We are past all that technical nonsense.
Thank God. All right, got a good question for you, John. You mentioned jazz, so my question to you is, how does jazz help you with your drumming?
Well, it breaks you out of a lot of patterns that you kind of get stuck into. Like I feel like I'd be stuck in a lot more ruts if I wasn't more trained in jazz. Just because like improv, I would say like is the biggest thing. Like it taught me how to improvise, which kind of taught me how to be creative and to like have the confidence to, try new things and play a little weirder, little weirder rhythms in there. So like stuff like that, it just kind of breaks you out of your shell a little bit and forces you to be creative, because you can't play like jazz and be stiff like at all. Otherwise it's going to sound terrible. It definitely forces you to be creative. It all dynamics a lot. Like metal is obviously very high in dynamics pretty much all the time, but it teaches you how to use low dynamics to your advantage.
No, it's just interesting because when we've interviewed drummers, jazz always comes up in the topic. And it's just really interesting how something like jazz does actually help with that. So I was just curious to ask.
It's a whole like other planet to drumming that I feel like once you like kind of dip your toe into it, you kind of just get sucked in because there's just so much depth to it, and it's different than anything else that you could do with the instrument. So I think most people end up at least exploring it a little bit, even drummers and all musicians alike. Like it's a big thing.
So what is, we always think life on the road is so glamorous. So what is life like on the road for you guys? Like, I know you guys got to get from point A to point B in a certain amount of time. What are some of the chaos that goes on behind the scenes of touring that we don't see?
Ooh, sweat. It's just like we tour mostly in the summer, if not exclusively currently. So it is hot all of the time. It is so hot. You just kind of give up. Like after like 2 days, you just go, okay, I'm going to be sweating all the time. I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And like we're from New York. Like we're not perfectly built for it just yet. So it's some adjustment.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot used to like having things not be like perfect or comfortable for a really long period of time. Like John mentioned with heat, we're just like, we're not like, this might make us sound like disgusting people, but just like being dirty a lot of the times too. It's like, like you go 4 shows in a row and it's like venues don't have a shower. Like there's nothing you can do. Like you've got baby wipes and that's what you're left to for 4 days. So like there's things where it's like we're out here and we're able to be playing shows, and like that right there is just like living the dream. So yeah, I'll take a baby wipe shower every day to make that worthwhile. But it's just a lot of like sacrificing the little personal comforts to be able to do like awesome things like playing shows every night.
Hey, look, it's rock and roll.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be perfectly. So,
No.
And if it was, Adam Levine would be a better rocker.
There you go. There you go.
Your love for your love for Adam Levine never ceases to amaze me, there, sir.
Dude, he doesn't like rocker chicks, and we don't like him either. I mean, his fucking tattoos look fake as fuck. I won't be surprised if he's wearing something over it.
Oh, call out, man. Call out.
No, they do.
Who the fuck uses 14 producers and 30 songwriters for one fucking album? Led Zeppelin only needed one producer.
There you go.
For the record, Adam Levine, dates available on the Metal Summit. Call us.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
We can handle it.
Yep, I'll be nice to you. I'll be like, Adam Levine rules. As soon as the camera goes up, like,
Fuck that asshole.
exactly.
No, it's all good. It's all well and good. But Angel, we do know that you would sacrifice Adam Levine so you could get Jim Morrison back.
Yes, I would. In a heartbeat.
Oh, hell
But
yeah.
let's talk about something really cool. Let's talk about these tour dates.
Let's.
Heck yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get to. All right. So tomorrow, yep, July 11th, you guys. Hold on. Is that right? Yeah. So tomorrow, July 11th, you guys are in West Allis, Wisconsin.
Heck yeah. Yeah, this is it's right outside of Milwaukee. This is our first time in the like greater Milwaukee area, and we're so stoked because everybody who's told us anything about Milwaukee has just talked about how incredible the scene is out there. So very, very excited to finally break into that scene. And we're doing it with like some friends that we know too in bands like Gunderslam and Metal Mark. So it'll be fun to see all those folks again and just get to throw down together.
And tickets are $10. And I always say, look, support live music. I mean, $10 to see how many? I see 5 bands. Yep. Mm-hmm. So $10 to see 5 bands. I mean, you cannot get a bigger package than that.
Like, dude, $2 a band? Are you kidding? That's awesome.
Right. And buy merch. So
yes.
You guys t-shirts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We've got all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And after leaving Wisconsin, the band goes on to West Chicago, July 12th. Again, tickets are $10. And there's a mystery. The local support is to be announced. So the local support could be anybody. Could be Justin Timberlake. Could be anybody.
It actually, I didn't want to say it before, but it actually is Adam Levine. So
it is.
There.
Oh man, that's awesome! Hey. You got Adam Levine opening up for you.
Yeah.
Angel, we might need to host that show.
Oh yeah. Yes.
There you go.
I would definitely make it to Chicago. And then after Chicago, it's on. Wow, you guys are playing back-to-back shows. Medford Lake, Illinois.
Heck yeah. And this is just a little bit ways outside of Chicago. So we kind of have 2 Chicago-ish dates back to back. So you can either do a full Chicago weekender with us, or you can pick which one you'd rather come to. I vote that you should come to both Chicago shows with us. But yeah, yes. both should be really, really sick.
Look, back in our day, friends would get together and go on road trips.
Mm-hmm.
So get together with friends, one car, take a road trip, have fun, and see a great rock show.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And your friend, and if you cannot get the $10, have somebody Cash App it to you. Now you got Cash App now where they can send you money for the show.
Heck yeah.
Hey, I'm just trying to help promote the tour.
Oh, you're doing a great job.
You're killing it. Yeah. Killing it. I love it.
Angel, you're hired.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Then after all that, guess what? Wisconsin, after missing them for a few days, they're coming back July 14th.
Yeah,
That's right.
this show is going to be super sick. This venue, the Crucible, is awesome.
Mhm.
And we play with these bands almost every year, and they're always absolutely awesome. So killer. The venue is incredible. Sound there is amazing. So we're especially excited for this show.
And it's in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes.
And after that, the band can say, we got one more show left. And that's going to be July 16th, the one that we were just talking about at Lefties Live in Des Moines, Iowa.
Heck yeah. Yeah, so that's the last show that we have coming up in the next week of shows or whatever. And then from there, we keep on trucking. But yeah, this one, again, this is at that venue that like Slipknot got their start at. So super, super stoked for this one.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, it's back to Jay.
No worries, absolutely. So let's take you guys into a fun segment that Angel and I like to do called What's in a Name? Now, as most people can attest to, the word bro gets thrown around a lot for various ways. Now, when we talk about the name Brotality, is that a Bryce and Reese reference?
Yeah, so that's kind of where it came from. Like Reese and I were like, again, we're brothers. So we like started this thing together right at the beginning. We're like, we're brothers. We love making brutal music. So boom, let's put it together. We like to have some fun too. So have a name that's a little bit, that's got some fun in it. Sure, let's do it. And then Brotality was born.
Nice, absolutely. And the fun thing, especially when it comes to metal, and I live down in Maryland, with Arturo, and we're very famous down here for a festival called Maryland Death Fest. It's been going on for 20 years. And the fun thing about these bands is looking at the logos, trying to figure out what the fuck they're called. So what was it also about your guys' the font design in your guys' logo? Because it's solid, it's tight, it's got a great look, it's got a great shape. But do you find that there's value in readability? Personally, I do.
I think,
Yeah,
right? Especially
Yeah.
for the type of music that we are like within the metal subgenres. Like we're not like extreme metal. So
Right.
I feel like one of those completely unreadable logos, as much as I do love them for other bands, I don't know if that would fit us exactly. So we wanted something where you could still see it and like pick out the name immediately. And we were inspired by a lot of like logos like the Gate Creeper logo and kind of like that like old school death metal stuff before it got like super insane like it is nowadays. But yeah, so that's kind of where we came from. And yeah, we definitely also see the value in legibility with that.
Absolutely, for sure. And so also, now let's take a second. Let's talk a little bit about It Feeds, because it's out. I also love the artwork that you have for it with the crazy, just like creature dude. So how's it been getting It Feeds out there? How's the reception been on it? And also talk a little bit about the artwork.
Reception seems to be great. I mean, it's exciting because it's the first release we have that I'm actually a part of. So it was a blast to record. I mean, it was pretty painless all around. Just really exciting music to write too, because it was like our first experience writing with each other as this new lineup. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and as like cliched as it can sometimes sound, like when I say this, I really do mean it. As like it feels like a new like era of our sound is coming about, and I think a huge part of that is because like John is fully on board and this is his first recording with us. Like the way that we gel together and that we've been bouncing ideas off of each other to kind of create this sound that is collectively in our heads. I'm like so excited on how it's come out, and I think even with like the stuff that we're currently recording and working on, it has that same bones that It Feeds has, and is just continuing to develop that style. But yeah, I'm so happy and proud of that EP, and I'm so glad that it's finally like out and able to listen to everywhere. And the artwork too. We did a lot of time like scrolling through as much social media as we could find, looking for artists who we really liked their work. And after like contacting a few and working with a couple for things here and there, we found this guy Entrepreneurial who really does incredible work, and he sent us tons of different options to choose from and to tweak. And then from there, like we put our own little framing around the art and everything, and we're so happy with it. I think it's the sickest art that we've used yet. So major props to Entrepreneurial there.
Absolutely, for sure. And with a band like you guys that are a younger band, a somewhat newer band, social media as well as simply digital release is become a very dominant factor when it comes to getting your music out there and stuff like that. But how do you guys look at it for the sake of hard copy, physical copy fans? Do you, for anybody who's unfamiliar, do you have CDs? Do you do vinyls? Like, can people get physical copies of your record to sign, or is it currently digital only?
Yeah, so we aren't at the point of vinyl yet, but we do have CDs, and we love being able to sell CDs at shows. So, with the It Feed CDs currently, there is just like a nationwide like kind of CD shortage for a second, literally because of pirates jacking ships and all this stuff getting held up. So it's a pretty metal excuse for not having CDs, so we're fine with it. But the It Feed CDs are showing up right around the halfway point of tour. So if you see us like next weekend and beyond, we'll have It Feed CDs. At every show, we have physical copies of our first 2 albums as well. So yeah, we always love to have at least some form of physical media available at our merch table.
Absolutely. When with It Feeds being the current EP, the first one that John recorded on as well, but also because it is an EP with limited amount of music on it, obviously there's got to be a need to fill in gaps with previous music and stuff like that. And my question really is just kind of in like 2 parts. One is, how have you found this material with John has meshed with your previous work that you obviously for the time being need to involve in your guys' sets? Also with like, how do you look at the idea of, this solidarity between the 3 of you going forward now, as opposed to where your music will go, as to maybe not necessarily leave your past just kind of in the dust, but maybe phase out songs as needed for the newer, tighter stuff?
Ooh, that's a really, really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that does have a couple different phases to it. I think the first one, just like how it meshes in. I think at the forefront, we are just so excited to be playing these new songs that we've been wanting to like really stack our set list with them anyway. And then I feel like they do still mesh with the old songs well, because at the end of the day, like they're still all Brotality tunes and they have like recentized influence still with them. But I feel like on this new stuff, like it's very much like hyper focused in on just like grooving as hard as physically possible. So these new songs have these really tight grooves and are like, especially more than ever, like riff heavy. So like I find myself when we're playing these new songs just really like getting into a whole nother level of like sinking into that groove live and just seeing the audience kind of feedback with that same groove. And again, I think it still works with the old songs, but it's cool to see that next level of like everybody kind of moving the same way with them.
Yeah, definitely. It's also like we were just so excited about that material that we just want to be playing that as much as possible. Like even for our last tour, this tour will end you, off of the Woods Will End You album, we were playing a couple of the songs from It Feeds throughout that tour, just because we had them already finished for a while and we just kind of wanted to feel them out. And again, we were just excited to be playing them. So it's like just containing our excitement for this new phase of the band has kind of just led us to really embrace it. Now that it's out, we just kind of want to, make that sound our statement as much as possible.
Absolutely, for sure. And Angel, I'm about to kick it back up to you, buddy. But for anybody that's coming out, that's watching us now, but is also looking to come out and see Brotality soon, do you guys open with tracks from It Feeds? Do they get this current lineup's music right off the bat? Or do you kind of tease with what brought you to the dance and the history of Brotality that leads into It Feeds music?
Yeah, so there's no guarantees because we do like to switch it up every once in a while.
Good answer.
But
Yes.
as of now, what we plan on is just hitting stuff with like, boom, here's the new sound right off the bat, and then we'll pepper a couple old school takes back in there as you go through the night.
Hell yeah, absolutely. My man, Angel, right back up to you, my guy.
All right. The day after a tour is over, what's your day like? What's the first thing that you guys do the day after the tour is over?
A shower.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah. Put my room and bathroom back together.
Yeah,
Uh,
unpacking.
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 Get my work schedule back together so I can pay rent.
Yeah, unpacking and like finding a place to just like breathe at some point, like being able to just
Yeah.
go outside, sit in the sun for a second, and just go, "Whew, I'm home. Let's enjoy this for a second." Yeah,
I stay inside for a minute. When we come back home, I just want to be in my house and sitting still.
yeah. So it's definitely a lot of just like kind of taking that mental space to be like, okay, I'm home. We're that phase has come to a close for right now, and we've got some time to like relax a little bit after we unpack everything.
so what do you guys? I know it can be kind of tricky with the time zones, especially in the Midwest.
Mhm.
Gosh, I forgot what I was going to ask about that. It wasn't really a question. It was just like a thought, like, how do you guys still? I guess when you're traveling, do you guys does that throw you off, or?
Oh,
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, like when we leave for somewhere and sometimes we get there before we left, it's a little strange. Those shorter, larger time zone jumps are a little odd, but I mean honestly it's just it's nice and interesting to break up just the days on end of tour. It's like, oh cool, now we're 4 hours earlier. It's just a little something to throw your way. You wake up from a nap and it's like 8 hours from when you fell asleep. It's just
keeps you on your
cool.
toes.
Yeah.
I guess this question is for John. Do you still have do you still have your first drum kit?
Oh yeah. Very much so. I only have one other drum kit. I think our first tour 2 years ago, I toured with my first drum kit just because drums are so expensive. It was just, I was more focused on like, well, first of all, buying cymbals because I kept breaking cymbals. So you're not going to break shells, thankfully. So like, and if you get decent heads and you know how to tune them, you could make a cheap kit sound very, very good. So I just felt really no need to upgrade for the longest time. But yeah, I very much still have and play the first kit I got when I was 9.
Bryce, what about you? Do you still have your first instrument?
Yeah, I still do have my first guitar, and my first guitar, it was like a short scale, so I definitely like don't play it anymore. But it's in my closet. Every once in a while, I'll pop it out and look at it for the memories. But yeah, I'll keep that thing forever.
Oh, that's awesome because I remember what was it? John Bon Jovi said that he recently just found his first guitar that he had sold to somebody, and that person sold it back to them. I'm like, that's what I call an investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Angel, Arturo, there it is. I was going to say Arturo has a question.
See, we're like twins, Jay. We're always thinking on the same page.
Oh, heck yeah. Brotality is a real heavy metal show for sure. If you come out, expect to sweat a little bit, expect to headbang a little bit, because we will definitely be sweating and headbanging like crazy. I mean, Reese and I are both still on like real amps. We're pushing air loud It's loud, it's hard, it's heavy, it's sweaty. So yeah, you're definitely getting a real heavy metal show for what's typically $10 a ticket.
Yeah, it's like I was looking at all of the ticket prices at the venues. I mean, $10. It's not bad to see a show. People spend a gazillion dollars to go to a stadium band.
Yeah.
So spending $10 to support you, it's well freaking worth it. You're going to get a kick-ass rock show.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
like
buy
to
a
think so.
shirt, support the band. This is how we keep rock music alive. Because,
Man,
like Gene Simmons once said, it is still music business. It's cost gas. You guys don't get anything for free. Y'all don't get free gas. Y'all don't get the shirts made for free. None of that. Y'all don't even get free tolls. So look, this is how you support music. Just saying.
Right. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so get out there. Like I said, for $10, you're gonna get a kick-ass rock show. But don't go by yourself. Bring a friend.
Yeah. Bring a bunch of friends.
Bring friends.
Yeah. Bring a bunch of
But then after the
all
show,
talk about it, what a great time y'all had, and have that summer memory. Make this the summer show you gotta see.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
absolutely, for sure. So, question for you guys. Being that, you guys are, DIY, you're doing, your thing, your style, your way. When it comes to the fans that want to support you guys and order merch from you, is that something that they're able to get from you? Not only are they able to order it online, but also being that you guys are on tour for the next, 4 to 5 weeks, if they order, do you have somebody holding it down when it comes to that? Or will orders go out when you guys return on tour? Like, are you in charge of that? Like, for example, I'm the guy who has all the Metal Summit t-shirts. So like, you contact us, you get it right for me. If I'm out on the road or whatever, maybe it takes a couple of extra days. You guys understand what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We don't have an online store right this second, but we are literally going to be working on it on tour. So it'll be up, within a couple weeks from now for sure, to get some shirts on there at least, and they'll be made to order. So they won't be fulfilled by us personally, but we do make our own shirts that will fulfill ourselves when we bring them on tour. So there's going to be, there's a whole line of shirts that we bring with us on the road into shows, and then there's going to be the online store. They're going to be pretty much exclusive from each other, but we're working on getting the store up while we're on the road.
Nice.
Yeah, and that'll just be on our website.
Oh, right on. Hell yeah, for sure. When it comes to getting out on the road and also playing these shows, obviously you guys are incredibly grateful and super duper just stoked to be on stage playing. But how is it about the way you guys design a tour for your own fulfillment that's also going to give you guys the best, return on such a major investment?
Ooh, so I think this is something that we learn more and more how to do every year, because the past couple of years we've been kind of exploring different parts of the country and where has been the best for us. And again, we've never had any bad experiences any part of the country, great shows all throughout. But we found that the really great bread and butter awesome shows back to back for us has been this Midwest kind of Rust Belt area. So this year we were let's just capitalize on that, and we decided to do a comparable amount of shows this year in 4 weeks that we did last year in 7 weeks, but just packed in together all throughout this Midwest area that we've been having a lot of success in. So we were let's put it all there. Let's make the shows extra worth it. Put them all back to back. And one of the things that we like to do to make it a little more fun for ourselves, like you said too, is let's go back to those venues that we've had the greatest experiences at, and let's invite back the bands who are from those cities when we hit their city. So when we know that not only do we have a cool venue waiting for us in the city, but it's going to be a little family reunion with a bunch of band friends at that show. So it's nice to be able to book yourself a bunch of things to look forward to as tour goes on. And it keeps it interesting when you have a rotating cast of bands coming in every night as support.
For sure, because that's also got to be, that's the best way also to strengthen the community and stuff like that. Angel and I work with other shows and stuff like that. We'll be invited on our peers' podcast where we get to come in as guests and just kind of, enjoy ourselves, where it's like, hey, we're not in charge. We were invited on as guests, which is super duper cool. But then it also allows us to turn things over as well, which is very, very cool to be like, hey guys, come on out, rap with us. My friend Ron is a very talented photographer and interviewer, and he was on the show last night as a co-host. But the point of why I'm going with that is it's got to be also kind of a cool opportunity as well for when those peers of yours come to New York. It kind of gives them the opportunity to be like, hey, our bros in Brotality are from this area. Let's see if they're available to play this gig.
Exactly. Yeah, and we love doing stuff like that. Like just a couple months ago, we had this band. They're called Deadworm, and we love playing with them out in Cincinnati, where they're from. And like they came up to New York and played a show in one of the towns that we love playing in New York, and we had a great time with them. So yeah, love being able to swap shows like that. You just build your whole community so well.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Angel, let's kick it back over to you. But fans, I want to let you guys know we do a Brotality on them for a limited time tonight. We got them for about 20 more minutes so we can respect their time and also allow them to get a little bit of rest, being that they are on tour. So don't forget, any questions that you want to ask them, any comments that you want to give them, by all means, pump them into the comments, into the chat. We're going to see them. We're going to ask the guys. We're going to make sure that you guys are heard because this is a show for you. But keep in mind that it is that time because we do have them on a limited fee. So I wanted to make sure to give you guys a heads up on that. So it is going to be last call for alcohol, guys. Final questions, comments. Like I said, we always clear the board. We got you. But we need you to get them. So anything you want to ask them, now's the time to do it. Go ahead, Angel. You're muted, buddy.
When it comes to songwriting, and the music you guys have put out so far, do you guys ever feel you got to make it better than what it is, or do you guys just let it rock out and just come up with whatever you come up with as songwriters?
I feel like there's always that like intrinsic desire to make something better and better, and not necessarily because we feel like it's subpar, but because we just feel like we want to keep pushing ourselves more and more. So like we'll get to the point where like we can be absolutely floored and stoked with a song that we're writing, but still have that desire to like, let's still make it better beyond this, to like try to keep topping what we're doing here. But yeah, I feel like whenever we write, and especially like I mentioned, we just finished recording some new stuff. Like oftentimes we leave the table with that feeling of like, man, like we're really, every time we write, more and more able to express the sound that's in our head. And I think that gets us really, really stoked because it's a blessing to have that ability to get what's in our heads out onto our fingers. So yeah, we're typically very excited about what we're writing, but there always is that feeling of like, yeah, we're stoked on this, but I'm also stoked because I know we can make it even better.
Right. It almost becomes like this weird like compulsion, or just like it's just constantly in our heads while we're working on it. Like, okay, what could we do? How do we improve it? How do we make it better? How do we make it hit harder? X, Y, Z. And I can definitely speak for all of us. Like, we're always thinking about our music. Like, just walking around in the grocery store, we're thinking about, okay, I came up with an idea for this song, and like we gotta get it out. And we work really hard on it because it's like we just feel so driven to do so, like regardless of how good we thought it was in the first place. Like if we could think of any improvement whatsoever, we're going to shoot for it.
Do you guys ever reach a point like, okay, we're overthinking the song, let's just leave it the way it is? Do you ever get to that point?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. It's extremely easy to overthink also. But also, once you get worried about overthinking, you start underthinking, and then you overthink both of those, and it becomes a mess. So trying to like control your own artistic mind is something you just got to like learn to do the more you write.
Yeah,
for sure. We're getting better at that every day.
And I think there's a point that like every, not only musician, but like creative person needs to find where like you're able to just put a lid on something, because like having a creative outlet there technically never is a point to stop. Like you can keep refining and tweaking and adding for the rest of your life and then never put anything out. And like nothing that you do put out will ever be 100% perfect. Like you'll probably look back on it and be like, oh, I should have done this there, or it would have been cool to add this, or oh, we started doing this thing live and I wish it was on the recording. But you have to be okay with the fact that like, hey, we put everything we had into this and it's 99%. And I love that whole 99%. But like, yeah, here's the time where like, I'm stoked on this. We're putting it out and then we're going to move forward and start writing the next thing.
Cool. And Art posted, talk about the objective and the Columbia Right Guys in Tennessee.
Yeah, the objective was a super, super awesome opportunity that we got. We headed down to Nashville. The objective is like a big like industry showcase that they do down there. And we were invited down to play a couple songs. And we got a super like warm welcome with everybody. We got to do a little showcase of our music. And yeah, I think we had some people who were impressed, like the folks from Columbia. And yeah, it's just awesome to be able to like kind of have those connections in your back pocket. And that's just part of growing as a band in general. Like the more that you play, the more that you have those like people that you meet, just like you guys. And now we're here doing an amazing podcast with all of you. So like the objective was an amazing point to really like grow who we know in the industry and be able to showcase what we do for more people. So yeah, great experiences at the objective for sure.
Yeah, it's just nice to be able to get feedback from people like that, and just feedback in like a controlled way. Like there was a panel of judges when we went on, and they all like gave us their critiques, and it was awesome to have an experience like that. Like especially when you love what you do enough to be secure enough about it that you could take criticism and just like really like take it the right way. It's fun. It's really nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Angel, let me jump in real quick because John, I really dig that last answer that you gave, though. I kind of wanted you and Bryce to expand on it. Like Angel and I have been very like blessed ourselves to get to work some individual like Battle of the Bands, including me. And in fact, me and Arturo did a Battle of the Bands as a judging panel one time ourselves. And how do you look at something like that? Because again, for the betterment of your band, I find that you can't be overly sensitive when you're when you have an opportunity like that. But at the same time, it's important to, to stand your ground as well. I find is really important when it comes to bands because your style, your worth, and your goals. So how do you look at something like that and the ability to take a punch but kind of give one back?
Yeah, it's a lot of perception. Like. You don't want to really perceive it as a punch, even though not everybody's great at expressing their critiques in the most pristine way, but you just got to take it for what it is. And it's a lot of like I guess it's a matter of confidence too, because you could take critiques and like if you're not confident that you know what to do with that information, you're just going to kind of shield yourself, or you're not going to take it the right way, you're not going to take it at all. But if you are secure and you know what you're doing and you're confident that you could make improvements if they're provided to you, if those ideas are presented to you by anybody, whether it's a critique or your bandmates or whomever, if you know in your heart you have the ability to like actually factor that in to any extent, even if it's just like to hear it and say, okay, I see where they're coming from and that makes sense, but I don't feel it makes sense for what's happening right now. Just it becomes whatever you can make of it, and I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, I think that's a really good response and a really good point. Like, I think from every critique, whether it's something you agree with or not, there's something that you can learn from, even if it's just learning about like how some other people may be perceiving what you do.
Right.
And I think one thing that you always want to try to look for is like seeing who really gets your vision or not. And again, that can be hard because you don't want to walk the line of like, oh well, like they just don't get it, so yeah, screw what they said.
Right.
Not like that, but I think some people really understand exactly what you're going for, and their critiques will be helping you achieve your vision. And then I think other times people might see something that you don't necessarily have like lined up for your future. Like maybe someone sees like, oh, they would make a sick band if they did this style a little bit more, but we just know that style's not in our hearts. Something along those lines, where you can tell who kind of is on your same wavelength in terms of vision and who isn't. And then you can kind of determine like how to take those criticisms when you factor in, okay, do they have the same projection as I do for this project?
Yeah, and even beyond like professional level critiques and like, the songwriting itself or anything like that, even just hearing feedback from fans or anybody say anything about what it is you create and just like the way that they describe it, it teaches you a lot about the ways that other people can perceive things. And even if it's just subconsciously, you take that with you, and it's something that you are thinking about when you create.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure. Absolutely. Right back up, T. Angel. Thanks for letting me jump in for a second.
No problem. Oh, that's awesome. So you on YouTube, you guys know how it is with the internet. Everyone's a music critic. So how do you guys deal with the keyboard warriors that just like to write anything negative?
Oh, dude, I think negative comments are the funniest thing on the planet because like it's so funny because it's one of the most like unnecessary things ever. Like I've always been so much in the field of like, if you don't like it, just keep scrolling. There's billions of other things for you to look at. So it's really funny when someone like takes time out of their day to write something mean. So yeah, like again, I would not recommend like spending time focusing on bad comments because that's all it is. It's somebody who just wants to throw a little jab in there. But if you can take it with a sense of humor, sometimes it's really funny to see the things that like people say. Yeah, so you got to take it as just like, this is one person who probably watched the first quarter of whatever video it is and then commented. But yeah, it's definitely not something to be taken to heart. It's, if anything, use it as a point of entertainment.
Yeah, no, because it is funny. Like when you put out anything, and like even if it's like, say it's like people will comment on like a long clip of a show and just nope, dumb, or like just something it just doesn't make any sense for them to have felt the need to write whatsoever. Yeah. And it's like hysterical to think about a person just really thinking that they need to say that. And it's just great. I mean, it's one of those things that like it's gonna be there no matter what you put out. You could post literally anything. Like there are like amazing videos on YouTube of like, people like beating cancer and like it's their whole thing, and there's dislikes on it. And it's like, who's doing this? It's like, it's crazy. The internet's magical, and you just need to take it for what it is. Like there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, I always say that on the internet, everybody's a music critic or a movie critic. Whatever it is, they just critique. But the fact is, you took time to comment, so I guess that makes them a fan too.
Exactly.
You're feeding into the algorithm, so yeah,
exactly.
Keep commenting.
Either way, it's engagement, and also, as much as it's like you see it written and it's like it seems so definitive when you see a comment that's written on your thing that you posted. But if you were just talking to someone casually in person and they said all of those things, you'd just be like, okay, like whatever. Like the conversation would go so different. But it's the fact that it's this written piece of information that just it makes it totally different, and it's just you gotta be able to laugh at it at a certain point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's rock and roll. Like I said, mistakes happen, but that's what lets people know you guys are not using backing tracks. Or
heck yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So with touring, do you guys have a favorite part of the United States you guys like to tour?
Ooh, I think like I was talking about before, like that whole like Midwest Rust Belt, like this kind of area that we're focusing in now. So some of the cities that we love the most are Grand Rapids, Michigan is sick. There's this place out there called Mulligan's, that incredible venue. Wisconsin too, like Madison always treats us well. And if possible, we always try to schedule an off day in Madison because it's just such an incredible city. Like we'll go and play disc golf and then go to a rail trail and then find some place to eat and like be able to take a day and do something that's not show after show after show to like give yourself that little bit of a brain break. So yeah, another incredible spot there. And the whole state of Ohio kind of has sick venues too. So that really there's wherever metal is, there typically tends to be cool venues and cool people. But yeah, those are a couple of our favorite spots.
Okay. I'm just looking at the time, and Jay, we only got about 3 minutes.
No problem.
Sorry to wrap it up. The boards are clear.
Cool. No, absolutely. Oh, sorry, Angel. Go ahead, buddy.
Also, anything final from you?
Yeah, man. It's just one more final fun thing. When you guys aren't on tour, what is just a little tidbit about your guys' selves for the fans? Like, are you guys particularly musically driven even in your downtime? Or are you into movies? Are you into books? How do you guys decompress a little bit when you're off the road?
Ooh, so I think musically driven is kind of always there. Like, love writing and playing whenever I can. But additionally, like, one of my biggest things that I love to do when it's not music is just anything really outdoorsy. Like I love, like, I'm a huge mountain biker. Like I love to go mountain biking or running. Like even when we're on tour, I try to go for a run every day. But then like on top of that, like things like rock climbing or like hiking out to like a rope swing with friends, like doing anything that can get me outside, like unplugged, out, just hanging out with people, doing things in the middle of the woods. Like that's my happy place apart from me. So I love being able to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a little in the opposite direction. Definitely very much thinking about music like constantly. Like it's like any opportunity I have to be thinking about something musical, I usually take it. I love movies. I love video games. Like I love exploring music in video games and stuff like that. I majored in computer science in college. Bryce and I just graduated this past May, so I've been doing a lot of programming recently too, and just stuff like that.
That's awesome for sure. And before we wrap up the show and let you guys get on with the rest of your evening, where can you guys be found? Where can Brotality be found for everyone who's looking?
Heck yeah! So you can find us pretty much anywhere you search Brotality, we will come up. Like we're big on like Instagram. We've got that Facebook going. Even got a TikTok now because that's something that you got to do as a musician. But you can find us all over there, and then our music is all over like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, anywhere you can find that stuff. So if you plug Brotality in, you will probably find it anywhere you're going. And even us, like our personal accounts are pretty much called Brotality Bryce, Brotality John, as far as you can search stuff. So yeah, if you plug in Brotality, you'll make your way over to us.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. And so as like a final thing before we before I kind of do our final cues here when it comes to the show is our final thing, John, Bryce, is first and foremost, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. The most important thing for me and Angel that we find it incredibly valuable to let our guests know is that we appreciate and hope that you guys had a good time, that you enjoyed yourself, that you guys felt respected, that you enjoyed the questions that were asked of you, but overall you felt that this was worth your time and beneficial to the band.
Oh,
absolutely, man. Thank you.
Yeah, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for bringing us on, for hanging out with us for the night. Seriously appreciate it and had a great time.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. No, absolutely, for sure. Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys so much. You guys kick ass. Thank you so much for everything you guys do as far as supporting live music and getting out there, supporting bands, buying merch, doing all that stuff. Actually, babe, real quick, while I'm signing off, come in here and slide in real quick. So John, right here on our right in the black shirt, he's a Jimmy the Rev fan.
Yeah.
I was telling him about your tattoo on your back.
Yeah.
I'm tattooed on my back.
That is so awesome. I love that. Yeah, big inspiration for me, for sure.
Absolutely. But Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much for everything that you guys are doing for the band. You can follow the Metal Summit on both Facebook and Instagram as well as YouTube. Facebook and YouTube that's where we go live, so that's where you see these bands and when we talk to them. Instagram is also important because that's where Angel and I put out the guest announcements first, so that's definitely the way to go with that. When it comes to us individually, you can find Angel Alamo at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram. You can also find him on Facebook. You can find me at Salem.Vampire on Instagram as well. And you, like I said, Follow the Metal Summit on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're also on X, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys real soon. As always, you've been watching the Metal Summit. Have your guys an absolutely killer rest of your week. We'll see you in a week. Guest announcements over.